and black people only time during the show. And that's part of his base. And on this show this past week, in a moment of celebration in Black America, this was right after Iowa, prior to New Hampshire, he said, I know you all are celebrating, but I do want to acknowledge you have a right to celebrate, but don't celebrate too long. The crucial point of the covenant movement was always accountability, 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 and we have to make sure Obama himself is accountable. That's basically what he said. And he caught hell.
He also said, and he also said that people should remember African Americans left behind. He had a great line about there were more black people in jail in Iowa than voting, because
they've got the highest rate actually.
Yeah,
I was out in Iowa and went to.
So why did he catch flack for this?
Well, I think black people have had so little to celebrate in terms of substance. You know, we got Will Smith and Halle Berry, Michael Jordan.
Will Smith is a Scientologist now, isn't that something?
Did he become a Scientologist?
Maybe I'm wrong, actually.
I know he's been leaning in that direction and hanging out with Tom Cruise. I don't know if he's actually come out.
He did announce it? Okay, I didn't want to make a journalistic error here.
Yeah, I mean, you know, different folks. I'm just making different folks. You know, and Will Smith is a very talented brother, but he's not the cause of substantive celebration for the masses of black people dealing with health, education, and jobs. I celebrated success. I say the same thing about Jay-Z and all the others. It's beautiful. Black success, white success, whatever. But then, what are you going to use it for, right? Like I told Jay-Z at his house, you are now successful. You're going from Marcy Projects to 59th Street, where he lives, right? Right down there from Barbara Streisand and some others. And I said, it's a beautiful thing to behold. I said, but are you going to be great? He said, I'm into greatness. I'm not into success. You see, but I come out of biblical tradition. He who is greatest among you will have the quality of his service, the depth of your love for the people. So, oh, that's naive. You can call it whatever it is. Hebrew scripture got some truth in it. Got some ugly things in it in terms of attacking folk who don't survive. You know, Moabites and so on. But it's got some deep truth in it too, in terms of quality of service and greatness. Black people have not had any real reason for substantive celebration of a greatness that has to do with quality of service and something bigger than them. And it looked as if Obama, beginning now to become this source of hope, invest their dreams in and so on, you see. And so when Tavis hit that critical Socratic issue, the timing was such that they thought it was going too far. And Tavis was so crazy. And I told Tavis, I said, look, anytime you love people, we all know this from our personal relationships, you're going to be scarred and bruised and wounded by them. And especially black people who are already so scarred and wounded. So a sign of your love for black people is to be scarred and wounded by them and still love them out of their scarring in such a way that they'll recognize it later on down the road. Because he was really pushed against the wall in this regard. Yeah. And this has been true for all, especially black leaders. I mean, Martin was talked about like a dog when he came out against Vietnam, against American imperialism. And you're seeing this now, Andrew Young and Bob Johnson. We can just go right down the lists of the black establishmentarian leaders who are going at Obama. And now, of course, even more, and some of the Obama people going at Tavis. And for me, it's both, in some ways, inevitable you're going to get those kind of misunderstandings, but at the same time, that's precisely the kind of teaching that needs to be done. That it's not about Obama. Obama can be a vehicle to raise issues not just for black people, but not just the country, but the world. I mean, the world is looking for some democratic vitality in the midst of the American empire. Is there really an other America? That's what they're looking when they look in Asia, Europe, Latin America. Is it the truth that Bush is the public face of the American alternatives here? Not just people who talk, but people who actually are on the road to power. That's a serious issue. Mm-hmm. And it has both symbolic and substantive. And I think one of the great features of American civilization has always been that when they looked at America and they saw Whitman rather than opportunistic politicians, you see, when they saw Louis Armstrong in 1920, they didn't just see who was the president then?
Coolidge?
Yeah, Coolidge. The brother who was taking naps in the White House.
Yes.
Calvin, yeah. Calvin Coolidge.
One of them, yes.
You know,
like Harding.
They went in the 50s and they saw Miles Davis and Sarah Vaughan, and they saw Gershwins and Rodgers and Hammerstein and Bernstein and others in the cultural realm. Right. Not just Eisenhower. That is, there had to be other alternative American representations of what democratic visions were all about, rather than just those in power. And these days, you know, we're in deep trouble. I mean, one of the reasons why this moment is so scary in some ways is that we're in deep trouble. If we miss this opportunity and end up with a Giuliani or a McCain or a Huckabee, and I like Huckabee personally, but I just wish he would pastor a church. You know what I mean? He would be a marvelous minister. But if we miss this moment, it'd be too sad to ponder.
Do you think that Obama should, instead of just responding to the Clinton camp's political jibes and so on, should he give, not for any necessarily political reason, although everything would be interpreted as political, but some speech that involves race to white and black audiences alike? Is there something he could say that wouldn't look self-serving, that could stand above this moment?
That's a very good question. I just don't know, though, brother. I just don't know. I mean, in one sense, it might be too late, but maybe not. Maybe I could be wrong. See, the problem is from the very beginning, Brother Obama began the campaign saying that his very being, as opposed to him saying anything, was a sign that America was coming to terms with the vicious legacy of white supremacy. And he's right about that. The very fact that a black man could not just galvanize, but actually convince fellow white citizens to go in the booth and not just vote for him, but come out with a smile. That is significant. We don't want to downplay that. We don't want to downplay that. That is very significant. Now, if he were to in some way say, I've got to hit this issue head on and be more explicit, would that undermine the earlier strategy that allowed for those white brothers and sisters in Iowa and New Hampshire to come out for him? You see, it's a tough situation. I mean, we live in a country where our understanding of racism is so impoverished. We don't have a language to even get at what's going on. I mean, you got so many white brothers who say, you know, when I hear Mr. Obama, he doesn't make me feel white, and I love that. He doesn't make me feel white, and it makes me forget I'm white. And they think that's a compliment. Well, what are you saying, though? Yeah. I mean, on the one hand, you're saying that he doesn't make you feel like a white supremacist? Oh, that's good. Because I don't have anything against whiteness. I don't have anything against whiteness at all. We know it's a construct, nobody really right. But I have nothing against whiteness. I have something against white supremacy. Right. I know a lot of white brothers and sisters hate white supremacy. But they got cousins they got to come to terms with. Some of them more than they think.
Yeah, we've learned that.
But the difference here is you say, well, if white skin privilege is still operating, these people are forgetting that they're white. Then how do you keep track of the system that still has these benefits being accrued if all of a sudden they're raceless? You see, and black folk are saying, oh, wait a minute, Obama's making these white folk feel so good about themselves. That could be dangerous. There's a history of white folk feeling very good about themselves, doing some dangerous things to black folk. But so it's a real tightrope here, and I don't.
Well, one point
I don't know how you can deal with that at the moment, unless
maybe not. I mean, maybe not. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Getting back to the broader point, one point that I thought that Tavis Smiley made on the Joyner show that was very much apropos was when he said he's sick of hearing people talking about how how Obama transcends race. And I would add to that this whole thing that we're in this sort of, he's a post-racial politician. That's sort of hooey, isn't it? I mean, it's trying just to sweep under the rug.
But there's a truth there, which is to say he is now accepted by significant numbers of white fellow citizens, whereas before, I mean, Jesse Jackson won 13 primaries and caucuses in 1988, so that's serious.
Yeah.
That's very serious. When he won Jesse Jackson, black man in Wisconsin's not a chocolate state. What's going on here? Yes, they crossed the lines to vote for the brother. Everybody was shocked. Wow. Mississippi, they probably understood him.